welcome to Retro Racing, the inaugural round. In terms of the championship, we had a few pre-season races, but they mean nothing compared to this. So as we have a couple cars going out onto the track right now, as Gap. There we go. Right, I'll sort that out. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to turn the tyre thing off. Yeah, there you go. Turn the tyre thing off, then turn the gap to leader on. Actually, do you know what? No. Fast laps. Right, we're here then for qualifying for Retro Racing League. As you can see, we're on F124. And we're looking at the Brawn car. Going over the Dunlop corner. Just behind that we have Tim-N and Matty as well. Tim-N in the 2020 Mercedes. Matty in the also glorious Jordan. Referencing the mid-2000s. But yeah, if you haven't clocked on already, these cars are all retro cars. Or retro recreations of cars. There's been a bit of a moment there for Devons there. I'm not too sure what happened there. There's a couple more cars coming out on laps, but yeah, so Retro Racing, it's bringing old teams back to life in F1 League Racing. As a form, into the wall there goes DX RCS, and DX RCS now has two X's over his eyes because that was a huge impact that has taken him out of qualifying. And I have to say, that was a very impactful crash, I must say, through the S's, but not one that he would like to make here in qualifying if he wants to be anywhere up in the top 4. But we have Phoenix on his outlap, and we have our first two men on proper laps. We have the Brawn car, which won in its first race as it goes through first curve. And on the same weekend as the Intercontinental GT Challenges Suzuka 1000 kilometer race, we also get to see the retro F1 cars back to life in the form of F1 League Racing. The yellow flag there for track management, I think, as Devons comes into the Degner 1, and into the second apex of Degner. Oh, he's in the gravel though, but I think it's realistic corner cutting, so he will be able to get away with it. Migrating host, someone's left. It's the man who's DNF'd, has also faced reliability issues in terms of his internet, and he's disconnected from the session. That means everyone else out on track apart from Missile, who's in the Benetton. We're going to go on board with the Brawn here. A lot more silver on the Brawn this time round than the solid matte white on the original Brawn in 2009. Maybe that's referencing the Mercedes that it turned into in the year after. But the team that was funded by £1, they've gone the best in the second sector. And as he heads round the last corner, out the Casio Triangle, over the line, it's a 1:29.6 as the benchmark. It means the Mercedes of Tim-N's going to be the next one to cross the line. He looks like he's aborted the lap. I think he has. So this isn't going to be very representative of his pace. He's nearly 10 seconds off the pole time after that first run. So now we have Matty in the Jordan, one of my personal favourites. Used to be run by Eddie Jordan back in real life F1, but now is under the ownership of Matty, who goes to P2, 2 cents off the pole time. In P2 at the moment. As meanwhile the Ferrari, you can see in the background, Phoenix goes to third, 1:30.8, a second behind the Jordan here. Obviously Eddie Jordan this year, he did sadly pass away. Rest in peace for Eddie Jordan. I really love Jordan, and always support Aston Martin and Force India and all that, mainly due to them being the aftermath of Jordan, as Jordan got bought out by Spiker, Midland, then Force India, then Racing Point, then Aston Martin. Yeah, Eddie Jordan, he was always fun to watch on Channel 4, and yes, he's really blessed the F1 grid with one of the great teams. As meanwhile, one of the great laps here by James, who goes 3/10 ahead of Devons for the pole time in his Benetton. So we have two Benettons on the grid. We have James and Missile, as you can tell by the B-Tech versions of the symbol. So we see, I think we have Timmen in the gravel. I was about to say he's coming out the final corner to finish the lap, but he is 7/10 off his previous best lap after that little excursion out the final corner. That means Missile is going to be ready to fire on his first flying lap. There's a yellow flag for one of the Jordans going slowly, and one of the Ferraris as well, as you can see. Phoenix backing out here. I wonder if they're going for a second push lap. They might be. Devons, I think he was on a lap, but it looks like he's backed out. There's James. He looks... Is he on another lap as well? Or was he just rushing to the pits? Not too sure. We'll find out. As there's a car off, that's Missile, who's going slow. Looks like he made a mistake there. So that's going to cost him on his first out lap. Here's the Ferrari and the Jordan pit. So Phoenix and Matty both pit after their first runs in qualifying here. We have the Mercedes of Timmen in P5. Just heading through. Do I reply to chat? I do when I look at it, but normally I don't look at it. Yeah, Timmen heading into 130R. He's 6/10 up on his lap. Granted, it wasn't the best lap ever. He's over the curbs there, really abusing the curbs. Luckily, realistic track limits is on, so he'll get away with it. Down the hill, out of the last corner. I know the line, 7/10 up. Bit closer, but he would like to be a lot closer than that still. So, yeah, who do I think is going to win at the moment? It's hard to tell because I haven't really seen many of these drivers. We have Missile crawling to the pits. So I don't know if Missile's going to... Missile was alright in the 5 lappers that I did with him just before the race. But I think Matty has a good chance. I think it'll be between the top 3, I reckon. As they're the only ones in the 129s. And they're only separated by 7/10, so I reckon, depending on strategy and things like that, I reckon it will be the top 3. I mean, it's a small grid today, but normally small grids do still make good racing, you know. Sometimes they do make boring racing. I'll give you that round nearly for the Braum here at Japan. As the £1 team nearly going around. My poet and I didn't know it, as we have Timmen on another lap. Is he? I'm surprised Timmen hasn't boxed yet for new fuel. Maybe that's why he's going so slow. As we have the Braun. Is he going to come in the pits? I reckon he is. Yeah, he's in the pits. As we have on an out lap the Ferrari. And last time I saw this much yellow and white on a Ferrari, it's 2024 actually, wasn't it? I was going to try and think of an old livery, and I was like, actually, it's probably 2024. But yeah, this Ferrari, it looks... It looks like the 1999 Williams a little bit when it had that red thing. Do I want to be a commentator when I'm older? Yes, and I've had the pleasure of doing real life commentary at the Warrington Park Hill Climb event, which is an event run by the Plymouth Motor Club, which is like my local club. So I've done a club event. I've been invited to the Brit Car Endurance Championship for next year to do events for them, and I've done and I've also got and there's Constantine here with the Ferrari and Missile, I think that was the Benetton, getting in the way of the Ferrari. Two of Schumacher's darling cars have gotten tripping over each other. But yeah, what was I saying? I've also got the opportunity to go to Brands Hatch to do commentating for Motorsport Vision Racing, the Enduro KA 500, which is a 500-minute race with like these little hatchback cars. ones that you'd probably do your driving test in. But yeah, also Britcar, that goes to circuits like Brands Hatch, Silverstone, things like that. So I've got a lot lined up, but the only thing that I need to sort out that I'm struggling with at the moment is transport. Obviously, being 16, I can't drive yet. No one else in my family drives. So I have to figure out transport money and things like that. So I'm trying to source out a form of income for now to be able to get to these events, to actually do them, because the more I do, the more likely it is I'll get to more prestigious events in the future. But yeah, meanwhile, speaking of prestigious, we have Fenix in the prestigious Ferrari car, the prancing horse, going out the Casio Triangle, over the line. He's half a second up on his lap, but that doesn't take him up any positions. He stays in a solid mid P4 ahead of Tim N, Missile, and the completely broken car of DXR CS. As we head through the S's. Oh, I think he got a little bit twitchy there. There's a yellow flag as well for one of the Jordans. Watching out for Tim N. Oh, round 4, Missile as well. Missile looks like he's getting shot by Missile. He's stopping very generously to let through the Mercedes and the Mercedes and the Jordan. But yeah, we have Devins back out on that. Let's see if he can jump ahead of the Benetton James, and very squiggly for the 2009 championship winning car. There's a Tolan saying he needs an invite back. Meanwhile, we have a little train of cars. It's purple in sector 1 for Devons. This could be the pole lap. The Brawn car, bought for £1, could go back to P1. But by the end of this lap, he needs to get to the line in roughly 28 seconds from about now. Can he do it? A side by side in front of him with the Jordan and the second of the Benetton cars. We have the Brawn, 2/10 up, that is nearly enough. He needs a little bit more out of this final chicane. How aggressive is he going to be? Through the Casio Triangle, down through the last corner, past the pit entry, and over the line to not take pole position, to miss out by just under a 10th of a second. No, just over a 10th of a second. So yeah, what am I aspiring to do in life? Commentating on motorsport, just something to do with cars, to be honest. So call Missile Lewis instead. So Missile Lewis in the Benetton, as off wide there in Lewis Hamilton's old 2020 Mercedes is Tim N. He takes the Colin McRae line through the Dunlop S. Colin McRae, famous rally driver. As Matty in the Jordan, getting a bit sideways there. As Devons though with a very hot on the tail of James there. We'll have a look at the gap. He said, yeah, just under 2/10. We have half a second exactly between the man in P1 and the man in P3. Beats Brands Hatch. Yeah. Alton Park beats Brands Hatch. Yeah. I don't really know, to be honest. I'm down in Plymouth, to be honest, so Thruxton's probably the closest one to me at the moment. Is there Q1, Q2, Q3? I don't think there is. I think it's a short... Yeah, it's not. It's a short quality. There's a lock-up here for one of the Jordans who's locking up in a straight line. The last time I saw that was one of the AI racing cars. Do you remember them? A2RL, Autonomous Racing League. One of the AI cars. I think it was the yellow one as well. They're locked up in a straight line in Abu Dhabi. As Lewis now. Lewis the Missile. Don't know what he means by that, but at least he wasn't like the guy who's 2 positions below him at the moment. As DXR RCS missiled it to the barriers. As meanwhile, 1.4 seconds down his lap, 9 seconds down his lap. James is back on an outlap. Devins is on a lap, but not going any quicker. As Timmen's out. Timmen out of this race, out of this qualifying session. He's crashed it. Look, we'll see as he comes through. He's got off on the inside of the Dunlop S. That would have put the Jordan off, but that would also put Timmen in a horrible position for the start of this race. As he goes off on the inside of the Dunlop S. Timmen is, well, the 6th man in the order. I don't know, maybe Stoke, maybe. One step at a time. But yeah, thanks for that one. No. Yeah. No, I've clicked the wrong thing. There we go. British Touring Cars, yeah. I've emailed them. I'm basically just emailing everyone I know and then just sending them clips of like these races that I commentate on. And luckily this year in May was when I did the hill climb, but I was meant to do an event in Brands Hatch in the summer, but we can like travel there like sustainably. So we had to push it back and say, right, we'll do the November one, which is the Enduro K50. Can invite 2 people, yeah. Might be able to. Yeah, cheers. There's Fenix, nearly 2.5 seconds up, 2.5 tenths up on his lap in the Scarlet Ferrari. Really making use of the Casio triangles inside curves. He comes over the line. He goes 6 tenths off the pole time. He's getting ever closer to that P3 of Matty, who's currently 5 seconds down on his lap. James, though, is on another lap, as Fenix is out. Fenix is retired from the session, down at first curve. But into the Casio triangle on the Exo 130R. He hits 1, he hits 2 points of the Casio triangle. He now goes through the 3rd point, which is this long run to the line. That takes him no faster, and looks like he's going on another lap though, so we'll keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, I think Matty as well is looking like he's going to go in or tube up for another lap. Devins retires. Devins done for the day. He reckons Matty is not able to dethrone him off the pole time. Yeah. I'll try and say people are twisted a lot to remember you, alright, Twist. But yeah. It's over the line. That is the end of qualifying then for Retro Racing, the inaugural round. Yeah, we'll do. But yeah, that's the end of qualifying then. The whole field separated by at least under 10 seconds. That's from 1st to 6th. Obviously, the 7th place man didn't set a time. Yeah, looks like a very close grid then. We have a couple of DNFs, a couple of people retiring. As we had some invalidations for we had some warning for track limits and speed limits and all that stuff. No pit stops, even though people did go back to the garage, but the game doesn't count that. Spinny spin on the S's. Yep, the Dunlop S's are not the best, I must say. As I've got some fun corner name facts about Suzuka, if you'd like, before the race. So, we have the 4th corner on the S's, so turn 5 on the entire track, it's part of the S's, but it's known as the anti-banked corner in Japan for, I was about to say no reason, but it is for a reason. It's because it's an anti-banked curve. Anyway, so that's known as that, and then the run at that hairpin, or the exit of the hairpin, that long curve that goes up to Spoon, that's known as 200R. So you know how you have 130R, it's 130 right-hander. 200R is that run to Spoon. So yeah, if you hear me saying that in the race, at least you know well I'll be talking about it. But here we go. 1, 2 lights, 2 green lights, and formation lap is underway for Retro Racing, and there's been some old school stalling from an old school team. That's for the Ferrari of Fenix goes down. I don't know if there's any predictions. Yeah, 200R. I'll let you know when we're going through 200R. I'll let you know when James and Devon goes through it, if they're staying this close together, but yeah. Yeah, heading through, so hang on, where's... Oh, someone's off at the anti-bank curve. Missile Lewis off at the anti-bank curve, which is this corner that he's rejoining now, and he's reset to the grid. Not too sure why, but he has been unformationed from the formation lap. Interesting. That's going to mean his tyres are cold. As we see the top 5 very close together, and then you have DXRCS, who's all the way down. As we're going through 200R now, this long curve, it lasts from the exit of the hairpin all the way to now, where it becomes spoon curve. And and for DXRCS, this is 200R for you. It's hashtag James for the win being trending on Twitter all day. Not joking. But yeah, James and the Benetton looking to be the better of the Benettons ahead of Missile, who's going to be the first one he's going to see on the grid. As the Benetton passes, or catches up to his fellow Benetton. The Brawl though as well catching up to his P2 grid slot. Then we have the Jordan, the Ferrari, the car that is now the car that is kind of the ashes of Brawn, the Mercedes, and then DXRS, which is the Williams Golf type livery. It's meant to be a reference to the Williams Cannon livery, I'm pretty sure. It looks a bit orange. Oh no, it's yellow actually. I'm just looking at it from the wrong angle. Hang on. My back. My back. My back. I feel like anyway. Go crap my back. There we go. Right. Here we go then. 5 lights on. 5 lights here for Retro Racing. We're away. And it's a pretty decent start for the Williams. It's a great start for the Jordan. Goes past the Benetton, who's had an absolute shocking start. He's barely moved off the grid. As meanwhile, Matty up into P2. The Brawn takes the lead. The £1 car takes P1. There's a spin for the Ferrari and the Mercedes. The two of the 3 current teams on the real life F1 grid are both round at turn 1. Off wide goes the second of the Benettons. That's Lewis Missile, who's missiled it into the gravel trap. The Ferrari of Phoenix being hit like a menace by the Mercedes of Timen, as the Williams hit side by side with the Ferrari, and they make contact heading through the Dunlop S. Wide there for Timen in the Mercedes, but there's battling here for the top 3, as I predicted in qualifying. But it's not what I expected. James getting a poor start in the Benetton. I think there's battling as well, as into the back of the Williams goes the other Benetton of Lewis. Meanwhile, Devons and the Jordan side by side. Matty and Devon side by side. It's Brawn versus Jordan heading up 130R. Side by side. We go on board with James, who's just behind this battle. We have the other Benetton having a little scrap behind as well, but getting ahead is the Jordan, who goes from 3rd to 1st by the first time we get to the Casio Triangle in race trim. The Jordan and Matty leads the first lap of Retro Racing in championship format, and he takes the fastest lap to boot. As meanwhile, look at this battle with DXRCS and Lewis Missile. Mentors down the inside, contact for the Jordan, nearly round, but the Brawn fending them off. Incredible racecraft by these 3. As into the pits comes the other Benetton of Missile Lewis. Meanwhile, James, who's the green Benetton you can see in the picture, behind the yellow and black Jordan, watching an absolute spectacle of racing. They were side by side through turn 1. Devon's taken the lead with authority in that Brawn. And his team principal, Ross Brawn, is going to be absolutely impressed with that. Is Devon's. As meanwhile, Eddie Jordan, we hoping for a bit better, as the man who used to be the team principal for the Jordan team, the hobby drummer. Meanwhile, the hobby gravel trap explorer of Timen Goes into another one down at the hairpin just before 200R. As the Benetton of James went a bit wide there. We look from the rear end of the Jordan, the rear end of the Brawn. We see the Jordan catching, reeling us in. But he's not able to make a move yet, is he? As we head down into the Casio triangle, the possible race strategies being starting on the mediums is a 1-stop on lap 25 to 23, and it's also a 2-stop as well. That's being predicted by the AWS graphic. As round the outside of the first corner goes Matty, who takes the lead back for Jordan, but the Brawn looking on the inside, the Loop Brawn looking for the move on the inside of first curve as they go through the S's now. The Suzuka S's, and then, wait for it, through the anti-bank corner with Devins and with the Jordan. Then comes James through anti-bank corner into the Dunlop corner. I was about to call it the Dunlop Loop then, but probably not the right name for it. So we head through the Degners. Now Degners actually meant to be one corner, but as they head underneath the entry of 130R, because this track is a figure of 8, and they head into the hairpin and then through 200R through the undulation with the Brawn, who's trying to catch back up to the Jordan and take Brawn back to where they have always been in terms of F1 championship status, always in first apart from when Red Bull won against them, and in Belgium when Kimi Räikkönen won. And meanwhile, so they head through 130R then. This is the closest battle on track on the record at the moment. And it looks like Missile Lewis is trying to catch up to DXR CES as Matty sets the fastest lap in the Jordan, but he's not going to be fast enough with the straight line speed to fend off the DRS powered Brawn. Brawn in its first race with DRS, it was back in 2009, it didn't have DRS, but it did have KERS, which it's using to great effect. Obviously it's under a different name now, under ERS, but it's still pretty much KERS, just with the K removed. But the Brawn using the KERS to its advantage, and instead of a double diffuser, it's got the double Devon defending at the moment. There's Matty being fended off as into the gravel there for Devons. He's broken under pressure. They're side by side into the hairpin. Round the outside. He's made the move stick, but has he? As there's the Benetton of James. James is spun into the hairpin, and that's the wrong way into the hairpin, my pal. As meanwhile, we have the Brawn back behind the Jordan, and it looks like James fell under trying to catch up to James. James, the one-shot the one-lap hot man, not being able to be the race pace drum and bass, heading round 130R with the Brawn and the Jordan. It's heading through, and there's a little battle as well on the track between the Benetton, who passes the Williams through the hairpin, but they nearly touch as the Williams brakes hard into the hairpin. Meanwhile, the Jordan swallowed up again by DRS, and for the second time Devons uses his Brawn to DRS himself past Matty, who goes around the outside of the S's. He's not going to work there, he's fended off, and now he's going to go all the way through the S's, now into the anti-bank corner, which is a negative camber corner, and then heading up through the Dunlop S, or the Dunlop curve, should I say. That's over the undulation of that corner, and then through the Degner, the first apex, then the second apex. As the Degner curve is actually meant to be one corner with two apexes, and Matty's saying he needs to be P1 as down the outside and sliding for Devons. Devons drifting at the hairpin, and that has cost him around about 0.8 of a second from his win. Something happened between 5th and 6th, they both pitted. Looks like they did. Missile Lewis is on hards. I think that means the Williams is in the pits as well. I know Lewis lost his front wing early doors. Not too sure what happened to the other person that pitted. Let's see, James. He's had a bit of a rocky start. He's had a farcical start, but hopefully he's able to claw that back in the remaining few laps of this Grand Prix. As there is a lot of laps left of this Grand Prix, has to be said, as Matty pulling away from Devons. He's backing out at the moment. Maybe Devons is going through a bit of tyre grading, or he's just saving his ERS. And if any team knows how to work their KERS or their ERS, it would be Brawn, as they won the championship the first year it was brought into F1. Back in 2009, they brought in KERS to be used. As the Jordan obviously didn't have any KERS, didn't even have DRS back in the day, just had old school drafting. As meanwhile, there's an old school spin for the pole sit up. He's going to get passed by the Ferrari on the outside just before Degner corner. As James now on a chase to catch the Scarlet Red Ferrari. Meanwhile, there's a battle through 200R for Devons and Matty. TCL Matty trying to stay ahead of Devons in the number 30 Brawn, if I'm not mistaken. It's through 200R with the Ferrari and the Benetton of James through Spoon Curve. The Brawn through 130R, looking to fight away past the Jordan. Is heading out of the Casio Triangle for the 6th time. And onto the straight. This is where a move can be made. In the slipstream, in the draft, and on the outside of first curve to take the lead. If he can hold the momentum, which he's just about able to do. Contact with the Jordan into the S's, but the Brawn stays in the lead, takes the lead from Matty, who's had it for the last three laps. Meanwhile, we have the Ferrari who's lost out to James while that was happening. We have, wide there for the Brawn. The Jordan's going to go through. Matty taking the lead back from the Brawn, who had it for a mere few corners. He had it for the whole first sector, but he couldn't keep it heading into the second sector of the 7th lap of this race. As through 200R into Spoon Curve, we have second separating the Benetton from the Ferrari. And then from 4th lower, we have gaps well over 5 seconds separating the field. As meanwhile, heading into 130R with the Brawn, who's behind the Jordan. 1, 2, going past the camera, and they head into the Casio Triangle with a point to prove, ironically. One of them trying to take Jordan back to the top step of the podium, a place where they haven't been as the Jordan name since 1998, but the Brawn's going to take it away from them. As inside goes Devons, and taking that opportunity away from Matty for the time being. James taking the fastest lap in this Benetton. Is his redemption arc is looking to be slowly starting. Heading over the Dunlop S. As I was saying about Jordan, they haven't won since the 1998 Belgian Grand Prix. And I reckon a lot of people will know that race purely from that wreck at the start. That red flagged the race and took out a mere 14 cars. Luckily spare cars were allowed back then. Spare cars are not allowed now though, and that's something that the Jordan team are going to have to get used to. We have the might of Eddie Jordan versus the might of Ross Brawn, and they're side by side into Spoon Curve here in F124. And on the inside goes Matty, who takes it at Spoon Curve, but he goes wide on the exit. And he's going to let the Brawn back through as they go over the secondary start line. As the Jordan takes back the advantage. He fends off the Brawn, who's been on his tail all lap. But heading into the Casio Triangle, the Brawn not letting the Jordan have a whiff of a breath. Meanwhile, we have the Williams. There's a bit of traffic here. Meanwhile, on the outside, with DRS and Slipstream and probably a bit of Kers, the Brawn gets back in front for... Oh, and there's contact there! I think the front wing's got off. On the Brawn it has. There's a virtual safety car. The Williams has taken the Brawn's front wing off. And in a very Nakajima-like move, DXRS has changed the entire complexion of this race. And there's damage on the front wing as well for Matty. Absolutely insane. Also, while we were watching that, the Benetton has called up to the Mercedes of Timen. But James has also fended off the Ferrari. This is going to change the entire complexion of the race. As the Williams trying to get out of the way, but he was just on the apex. And the Brawn running into the back of him. And the Jordan as well doing the same thing. As there's the first penalty of the race has been applied to the Benetton and Lewis Missile, who's missiled over track limits too many times. As meanwhile, top outside on the VSC on the full course yellow restart into Spoon Curve, and on the inside again, and they both go off the track. The Brawn stays around the outside, but doesn't have the grip. I reckon they'll both be into the pits this lap then. Very uncharacteristic stuff here. So heading into 130R. Drama for Jordan, and drama for the Brawn. As the Brawn going wide at 130R there, I think he kicked up a bit of dirt on the inside exit. As they both come into the pits, they do. Both go into the pits. As they both just about get within the speed limit. They both go into the pits. Meanwhile, that means James and the Benetton is going to take the lead of the Japanese Grand Prix here in Retro Racing. Then comes the Ferrari of Phoenix. Then out ahead of the Brawn goes the Jordan. Then behind those two coming out the pits is the kind of the younger brother of Brawn, the Mercedes. Then comes the second Benetton on the grid, Lewis Missile. Then comes the Williams that has just caused a massive amount of drama of DXR in the number 48 Williams, who's actually now got the Benetton of James and the Ferrari of Phoenix catching up. Is there going to be more drama for these guys? There nearly is. Slowing up again on the apex. As we look from the behind of... I think that's just been a changed position here. There is Timen and Lewis. Lewis has a broken front wing, but he's going to go down the inside. It's very... Well, there was optimism there, but it didn't really turn out to anything. As meanwhile, there's a yellow flag for that down at Sector 1. But here at Sector 3, there's two battles here. One for the podium, one for the win. As heading through 130R with the Ferrari, who's half second back. That's not going to be a move made. Here's the Brawn, the 2009 Formula 1 Constructors World Champion, battling against a team that hasn't won a Grand Prix race since 1998 with Damon Hill, but now they have a chance to do it again here in league racing format. But that drama with the Williams may cause an issue. Also, this battle with the Ferrari and the Benetton is heating up, as obviously these two, as Devons gets back past the Jordan, and he goes back up into third. Whether that will be the net race lead or not is still yet to be seen. Heading through the S's then. That's through anti-bank corner with the people in third and fourth. They still have the Williams to clear yet as well, that traffic. This is like World Endurance commentary, and it might seem like it, but we have the Williams here, kind of being a bit of an LMGT3, and he slows up on the apex again, and that might compromise the Brawn, as on the inside of the little kink before the hairpin is the Jordan, who locks the rear tyre, nearly spins. These two, even though they're not battling for the actual race win, are still battling as if it's the World Championship last lap. As the Brawn stays ahead, and then meanwhile up ahead in 1 and 2 we have, it's quite fittingly actually, Michael Schumacher's 2 cars that he won the World Championship in, the Benetton and the Ferrari. So he won in the Benetton before he won the Ferrari, but he didn't win in a Brawn or a Jordan. Meanwhile, they swap positions again. The Jordan back ahead of the whitened line car. As they head out the Casio Triangle, they both, it's like a similar battle to Alesi and Senna back in Adelaide, as they go down. Oh no, it was Phoenix, wasn't it? But meanwhile, the Brawn goes around the outside, gets ahead of Matti. I'm trying to think of another time I've seen a battle like this. I think quite fittingly in Japan in Fuji back in 2008 with Robert Kubica and Felipe Massa. They were battling in a very ferocious way. And meanwhile, the lead has changed. The Ferrari, the prancing horse, is up in the lead, ahead of the Benetton. Matti has got ahead of the Brawn. Did the Brawn go off? He did. The Brawn went in the grass. Did he get wing damage from it? No, he didn't. But the Brawn has come a cropper in the Degner section. That is not ideal. I'm not sure what happened there, but it looked like he came off the inside of the corner or maybe ran out to the outside. Not too sure. Meanwhile, James on the back of the Ferrari heading into 130. Is he going to make the move stick? No, but we're heading into the Casio Triangle, and he spins! Huge spin for the Benetton, who rear ends the barrier, it looked like. And the Ferrari's lead goes from under a second to over 4 seconds. As now, would that be rear wing damage for James, do you think? Not too sure. There was a spin for a Sauber in F120 in an F125 league, Ground Effect Racing League. Spin for a driver called Kirsch in the Sauber in F125, who was battling with a Haskell Pontic through that corner, and he had a very similar spin to what James just had there. So it seems going wide out 130R on the limit does turn you into a cropper, especially if you try and turn the car in a way where the car doesn't want to be turned. It will just throw you off. As we head over the Dunlop curve. Whereas meanwhile, the leader has a penalty though. How big is the penalty? Should we see? 3-second penalty, so James is still on aggregate in the lead of this race, depending if penalties get taken off or not. Devons is definitely ahead of Matti, as they both don't have penalties. But these two are definitely still battling like absolute savage predators on this racetrack at the moment. As there was a battle with Devils Latifi and Lucas Racing in Ground Effect Racing League, in Golden Racing League for the race for Jules in Tier 1 of that league. But that was towards the end. This has been all race so far between these two great manufacturers, and they're still going for it. The Jordan on the outside taking the lead ahead of the Brawn, and the team that the Jordan, which took a pole position away from the Brawn back in 2009 under the Force India name with Giancarlo Fisichella, has now lost that position again as James is right again. No, it's Missile in the Benetton. That was nearly drama there. Well, there was drama, just not as much drama as I anticipated. Jordan getting overtaken again by the Brawn. Yeah, as I was saying, the Jordan who in 2009 under the Force India name took a pole position with Giancarlo Fisichella in the Belgian Grand Prix. So when we get to Belgium, it'll be a great round to be a Jordan driver, as there'll be a lot to remember. So obviously being the track where Michael Schumacher made his debut. Speaking of Schumacher, his 2 championship winning teams are up in front here in Retro Racing, in Double R Racing. We could call it Triple R and just call it that. We have I think there's still battling going on between these two. I want to look at other battles, but I simply can't, because these two keep nabbing my attention. Because they are just looking to rip 7 shades of Suzuka out of each other. It's absolutely incredible to watch, but scary at the same time. And it looks like they could do it again, as heading into the Casio Triangle. Inside for the Jordan, outside for the Brawn. Who's going to take the lead this time? It will be Matty, who comes out in front of this battle. Meanwhile, for the actual race lead, the Ferrari defends to the inside, but scooping to the outside in a very Fernando Alonso-like move is James, who takes it ahead of the Ferrari. So the Benetton back in the lead. It's 1-6 for Benetton at the moment. It's 3-4 for the two men who are absolutely aggravated today in terms of their racecraft and their battle, and it's absolutely scary but crazy as well. 14 laps of crazy racing. It's an understatement, it has to be said. As I was about to say, I don't think Matty or Devon have a wife or 2 kids at home, but it doesn't look like they care at the moment, as they both know they both aren't backing out, and they're both on the verge of having a huge monumental wreck. As through 200R with the leaders then, Phoenix and James looking to duel as well. But meanwhile, speaking of this duel between the Jordan and the Brawn is it's almost like a Star Wars duel, as meanwhile the Ferrari looking to get back ahead of the Benetton. The Ferrari on the inside of 130R takes the lead of the race, and he forces the Benetton off the track. In doing so, they're heading into the Casio Triangle. He went through on the inside, but it looked like he picked up understeer there and just carted his rival out wide. But obviously, this being 2024 regulations, he got to the apex first, so he's allowed to do it. Meanwhile, on the outside, on the grass, that's a bit messy there for the Benetton, who doesn't get ahead. He faked to the inside, he went to the outside afterwards, hit the grass, hit the Ferrari side pod, and didn't make the move stick. Meanwhile, these two battling like Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars Episode 3, which was an absolutely frantic duel of attack and defense. They're doing the F1 version of that, and the Brawl on the grass. He doesn't go off, luckily. But that battle nearly came to a grim end here on lap 16 of the Japanese Grand Prix. There's Benetton traffic with the Jordan. Well, there's Jordan traffic with the Benetton. And the Benetton doesn't cause as much disruption as the Williams caused earlier on. The Williams helping cause the VSC from about half the race ago, around lap 8. As heading down 130R here side by side with the Benetton, who's alongside the Ferrari. They go up to about 200 kilometers an hour, and round the outside for the Ferrari. He stays ahead momentarily, but heading into the Casio Triangle, the Benetton, oh, the Ferrari got wide there. The Ferrari got wide, that's going to leave him vulnerable. The Brawn gets back ahead of the Jordan and Matty, who looks like he had a bit of traffic trouble. Meanwhile, the Benetton gets up to the lead, and without any grass work, without any fancy around the outside stuff, just a simple textbook move that gives him the lead of the race by 0.3 of a second. And also, he doesn't want to risk too much as well, because look, there's a penalty still there, so if that doesn't get taken off, James will most definitely still win. And also have Devons behind him as well. But Devons is actually catching this battle. This could be a 4-way battle here in Japan, which, if Matty is able to catch back up, but it looked like he was struggling with the Benetton of Lewis Missile. Yeah, I have to say, if this is a 4-way battle, last time I saw a 4-way battle in Japan in sim racing was the Golden Racing League race for Jules, as there's Missile going off underneath the entry of 130R. But yeah, if this becomes a 4-way battle, I saw a 4-way battle in Golden Racing League in the race for Jules in Tier 2. And it was just on the exit of a safety car restart, and it was right at the end of the race, and it was frantic. So if I know anything, a 4-way battle in Japan always ends well, but this time it's with equal cars, with old school teams. Last in Golden Racing League in Tier 2, it had Sauber, it had Aston Martin, it had McLaren, and it had a Haas. Here we have a Ferrari, we have a Brawn, we have a Jordan, which did become Aston Martin, but we also have a Benetton, which has gone on to become Alpine. Well, it looks like Matty's dropped off a bit, so maybe it will be a 3-way battle for the win for now. Obviously, beggars can't be choosers, but I would love to see a more than 2-car battle and involving one of Devins or Matty, but preferably both. Meanwhile, James looks like he sorted out his bad start, capitalising off of that VSC caused after the drama. There's a lot of dust being kicked up there. That might have been from Timan up ahead, who looks like he's going to become the third piece of traffic in this 4-way battle. As wide for the Jordan on the gravel. Not a recommended line through there as a lock-up for the Benetton. The Ferrari's looking to capitalise, but in doing so, he's actually gone wide there, left the Brawn a wide open door, and the Mercedes nearly making contact with the Benetton there. That was hairy. As meanwhile, we have the Ferrari and the Brawn going side by side. We have the Mercedes going wide, the Brawn going past its younger brother, or younger brother team, should I say, is to the inside, and the two teams that Ross Brawn used to work for and has won championships with are now dueling it out here in retro racing for second place here in Japan, and at the place where Michael Schumacher won Ferrari's first championship since 1987 with Jody Scheckter. In 2025, it's going to be the place where FedEx will lose the place to the Brawn of Devins. As losing the car there is the Benetton. I think I got the 1987 thing wrong. I think it might have been a bit later than that. Might have been 1990, I'm not too sure on that one. But we head through the S's with these 4 drivers, and they have gone together. Matty has closed up, and the Williams again causing issues as there's chaos and round for the Ferrari for the second time in this race. The Brawn goes round as well. The Williams and the Brawn coming to blows for the second time in this race. Nearly contact for the 5th place car of the second Benetton of Mr. Lewis. James gets front wing damage. Matty has an open goal, as he has no damage from that chaos. That Williams has caused an absolute scene for the second time in a row. That is chaos. Chaos if I've ever seen it. As the Williams, I am speechless. That was pure traffic issues if I've ever seen it. I haven't seen traffic issues like that since the Dacia Logan of the Nürburgring 24 hours. It's heading out of the Casio Triangle. Interesting, Matty does pit along with James, and Matty spins. And oh, there's carnage. There's a penalty for Ferrari for speeding in the pit lane. Devins, I think the Williams hit the back of the Jordan. More chaos with the Williams and the leaders. This means Lewis and Timming both get their lap back and are now both on the lead lap. And it's a full safety car. It's not a virtual, it's a full-blown safety car. As you can see from the full-blown safety car on the track, and they've overtaken it. But they should overtake it, as they are not the leaders. They're waiting to pick up the leader, which is James, who was lucky. Did he fix his... He didn't fix his front wing. His front wing is still damaged. Wow, this has been chaos so far. As if you thought 7 cars couldn't make a good race, trust me, I know from experience with Formula Asphalt, 7 cars is plenty of cars for a good race. There's wow, what a race has been so far. We've had traffic issues that we'd thought we'd only see in things like European Le Mans Series and WEC. We've had a battle between Matty and Devins that has made me question reality and physics. We've had we are shaping up to have a 4-way battle for the lead and a frantic restart, and we have a Williams that when things get boring, he's there to spice it all up, like Scotch Bonnet. And trust me, Scotch Bonnet is pure spice, and by spice I mean hot, as in my tongue has been burnt several times by it. But yeah, also my tongue's been burnt by commentating on this absolute masterpiece of a race. So just to give myself a little cool down, I'm gonna go and have a wee lavatory break. Okay, I'm back, and better than ever. Have to say as well, while we're in the safety car, I may as well do this now. Just gonna shout out fellow. I'm in a college drama group, and someone from the drama group today auditioned for. I think it was Matilda, if I'm not mistaken. And they said it went well. So we wish them luck and congratulations on an audition. And we hope that they get the part. Obviously, me not being the most theatrical kid in the world, but you know, I don't really do many shows. I mean, the only shows I've really done are like school plays. So yeah, but yeah, we wish them well. Well, I wish them well, and yeah. Also, ALB in the chat saying good luck to them as well. As we head through 200R, behind the safety car, we have Timmen and the second of the Benettons of Lewis trying to catch up to this massive lag. And when I see lag, I think of reliability issues, because yes, reliability issues in F1, they're normally engine failures, but in sim racing you don't get an engine failure, you get disconnection, and instead of seeing fire, you see teleporting. And when I see teleporting, that is a reliability issue to me, because you're not being able to rely on your internet, are you? That's the massive reliability issue there. That lag spike thing may as well just be smoke, because that is very unreliable science. The safety car in this lab, we have this beautiful camera angle that I'm just going to take the graphics off for a quick second and have a look at. And now as there's touching with the Williams there and the Ferrari, but we get back to green flag running, and the Jordan side by side with the Benetton over the line as Michael Schumacher's first two teams roar into turn one, and James holds the lead. No, he doesn't. He goes wide with the understeer of not having a front wing, and that's a huge shunt. Huge shunt. Lewis is out. Massive crash for Lewis. We saw one of the Benettons losing the lead. We've seen another Benetton lose his entire wheel. Let's just see the aftermath of it there. How was that not a safety car? I will never know. But the Brawn here looking to challenge the Ferrari. They both too didn't repair their wing, or have just lost it now after that carnage with the Benetton. As meanwhile, speaking of a Benetton, the only Benetton in this race now, as the Jordan locks up, the Benetton locks up, the Ferrari locks up, the Brawn doesn't lock up, that smashes it into the Ferrari and spins. Devons having a spin, and is he beached? No, he's not. He's waiting for the Williams. Nice outcut. There's wide as well for the Mercedes. Lap 22 being a lap for drama for everyone, it looks like. I'm gonna say bar Matty, but if he has drama now, this will be very ironic. As the Williams there as well, ahead of the Brawn, as there's a bit of a wide moment there through 200R for the Mercedes. You head into the Casio triangle. Out of that corner now, down over the line. DRS is re-enabled. The Ferrari into the pits. Let's see if the Brawn goes in the pits. He laps the Williams. There's another penalty for the Ferrari for speeding in the pit lane. His third penalty of the race so far. Into the pits for Devons. Not beating his race so far. He went from battling for the lead to now cruising down the pits with a broken front wing. We have James struggling with his retrospective broken front wing. We have the Jordan Amati, who has an absolute open door to score massive in the opening stage of this race, or the opening stage of this championship. As the land of the rising sun sees the re-emergence of Jordan, a team very revered in F1, founded and ran by voluntary drummer Eddie Jordan, a well-known businessman of his time before he opened Jordan. Very persuasive man. He knew how to work people with words. He knew how to turn someone who may be ignorant to something, and he knew how to talk them into something. But he's a very persuasive man, was Eddie Jordan, and but he also had a lot of charisma and compassion for what he loved. He loved cars, he loved business. He put them together, and he's made his mark on the sport in a nice, bright yellow way. And his legacy goes on, not just as Aston Martin in real life, but now as this new form of Jordan in Retro Racing League, with the driver Matty TTL at the helm. We have the Benetton of James coming out the pits. Is he going to come out ahead of the traffic? There's the Williams there. The Williams of DXR. If Murray Walker was here, he'd be calling him a mobile chicane. As DXRS doesn't lap himself over Lewis, who DNF'd a lap ago. As yeah, the Williams kind of representing Luca Badoa in a way. Kind of. That's yeah, it's heading out the pits with Tim N in the Mercedes. The Braun going over the hill. We have the Ferrari back behind the Benetton and back behind the Williams, should I say, and he's lost his wing again. That Williams is tearing people's front wings off like tear-off strips from his visor. As Lewis leaves the session, there's nearly a crash there for the Mercedes of Tim N, and there is a spin for the Mercedes driver at the anti-bank corner. He's gone over the anti-smooth surface of the grass. And although this sport doesn't involve round things, it doesn't involve grass. He's not playing football, is he? Is over the AstroTurf there. It's Matty over a pit stop ahead of James at the moment. I reckon he could pit and come out ahead of James. He's nearly 35 seconds ahead of James so far in the Benetton. The number 6 car. In second place as Devons in the Braun takes the fastest lap. Ross Braun, he's won championships for both teams in 3rd and 4th, for Ferrari and for Braun. And obviously Ross, he was almost like the Adrian Newey of the time, and the fact that he's on the FIA now kind of is ironic, because he would always be the one that would find loopholes that the FIA couldn't think of, like the double diffuser, like having a 4-stop strategy in Manicourt, like other things that would just, like him, Jean Todt and Michael Schumacher, they were what Max Verstappen, Christian Horner and Adrian Newey were of nowadays, of 2023. And obviously at this track in the year 2000, Michael Schumacher ended up winning the championship for Ferrari for his first time, or for his 3rd time, and for Ferrari's Ferrari's 11th time, if I'm not mistaken. And I think it was the first time since, I think I've got it right, it was the first time since 1987 with Jody Scheckter that Ferrari won the championship before Michael Schumacher won it. So when Schumacher won it, it was the first time since then that he won it. Speaking of Ferrari, there's a battle here between the Braun and the Ferrari. Speaking of Ross Braun and Ferrari, and here they are battling so many years later, 25 years on from Ross Braun's first Ferrari championship, and his team are now battling with and wide to the Braun over the gravel. Bumpy ride for Devons, bumping and bouncing over the curb, and that is not a smooth ride at all. And the frustration builds in Devon, as I don't know if he's Devon because he's from Devon, in the southwest of England, but maybe he needs a pasty, who knows. Terrible one. But yeah, we head through into Spoon Corner, and we're here with the Jordan. We're here also with the Benetton as well. James, we should talk a bit about Benetton, shouldn't we? The Benetton, the number 6 of James in the Benetton. It is. As there's a yellow flag, Tim Heads in the Mercedes wide again, and he's causing a bit of a distraction here for the Jordan. He needs to get out of the way quickly. Tim Hen, he's on the grass, he's wide. He's made contact nearly with the leader. And oh, there's contact through 200R. That could have been huge. I know from experience, cars have flipped there on this game in another league called Elite Racing League. When I raced in that one. But yeah, wow, making contact to 200R with the leader when you're down the order. I don't know if he's learned from Esteban Ocon in the 2018 Brazilian Grand Prix, but wow. Heading over the line then for the Jordan, start lap 28 of 53. Oh yeah, as I was saying about Benetton, obviously won 2 championships in F1 in 1994, 1995. Came into the sport back, obviously coming from Renault, or no, coming from Tolman, should I say. Turned themselves into Benetton, which was a clothing company at the time, and I think they turned themselves into Tolman in 1990. I want to say 1991, but I could be wrong. 1990, 99, 1991. I think it was 1991. Oh no, it had to have been 1991 because Benetton were around to snag Michael Schumacher. I think it was 1989, wasn't it? I think it was. It was 1989. Because it couldn't have been 87 or 88, because that's when. 87 was when Senna debuted there. But Tolman was still hanging around, weren't they? So, yeah. And obviously they debuted then. We have the Williams back with the Jordan. Yeah, Benetton. They had good success. Obviously they're under the Alpine name now after many name changes involving Renault, Lotus, Renault. Was it Alpine now? And other names that I'm trying to think of. But yeah, no, they ran for a good time, but they ended their campaign in 2001 after undelivering on the promise and not having any sponsors. As yeah, speaking of 2009, we have the 2009 champion here, the Brawn of Devons, heading through 200R. He has battled like an animal all race, and the fact that he's only 4th at the moment is an absolute tragedy. And yeah, speaking of Ross Brawn, I was speaking about him earlier, wasn't I, during the race when I was speaking about Ferrari and Ross Brawn. But let's talk more about Brawn as a team. Obviously, there was a documentary on it a couple of years ago with is it Keanu Reeves, and obviously they bought out Honda for £1, and going off wide there in the gravel there is the Brawn. But yeah, we have obviously Brawn. They bought out Honda from back from 2008. It's between, I think they went from BAR to Honda, and then obviously in 2008 they ran out of money, pulled out of F1, and then the team itself was left unnamed, untouched, ready to get put into bankruptcy. And Ross Brawn settled a deal for £1. Bought the whole team, thinking of a name for it. It wasn't actually Ross Brawn who came up with the name. It was actual group decision on what the name was. so he didn't really know what name to call it. As you got Tim battling on lapping the Williams. So yeah. But yeah, nowadays, I mean, if Ross Brawn was to buy the team for something of £1 now, £1 back in 2009 is probably, I don't know, it's probably like £3.75 in the current currency, isn't it? That's yeah, it's mental. Yes, obviously they were highly competitive from the start, although they were very inconsistent by the end, as their R&D development, their funding, very much limited them. So although they came up with the W diffuser, they came out of the blocks firing, similar to Aston Martin in 2024 and 2023 as well. You know, came out of the blocks firing with a great car, but as everyone else developed and learned of the car's weaknesses and tried to capitalise on the car's strengths and also work on the car's weaknesses, Brawn didn't really have the resources to do that, because obviously if he bought the team for £1, he's it's not got the fact that Mercedes took over kind of saved the team from bankruptcy again, pretty much. Yeah, so we see them now as Mercedes, and now I guess obviously Brawn, it was kind of Brawn and Mercedes, they're kind of the ashes of Tyrrell, I'm pretty sure, wasn't it? It was Tyrrell, and then it got bought out into BAR through some stages, and then went to BAR, then went to Honda, then went to Brawn, then is now the Brackley based Mercedes team, which is the car that Tim Mann is meant to be representing here. There's a Mercedes team, obviously they won championships before taking over Brawn back in the 50s with One Man One Fangio, and they were actually the first team to use streamliner aerodynamics in F1 before it was outlawed. But Mercedes, Vanwell, and there was another team that used streamliners as well. I think it was Porsche who raced some of their sports cars in F1 back in the 50s. There's obviously F1 back in the 50s. It was run to similar regulations as club level motorsport, so it wasn't really taken seriously. As I was nearly contact there with James in the Benetton and the Mercedes, that could have been an issue. Yeah, the Mercedes, obviously the what was I talking about? What was I talking about? Never mind. I'll remember it a bit. But as we head through the Casino Triangle, the Japanese Grand Prix has been held at many circuits over the years. It's been held obviously primarily at Suzuka since the late 80s, early 90s. It's been a very well-known finale for that time as well. But obviously we've had Fuji appear on the calendar 4 times in the mid 1980s and in the kind of mid-late 2000s with Lewis Hamilton, who won in 2008, Fernando Alonso, not Rennie Arnoux, it was the other one, wasn't it? Who was the other Renault driver? Because there was one, oh no, it was Rennie Arnoux, wasn't it? It was Rennie Arnoux who won there. And I think maybe Jacques Villeneuve, if I'm not mistaken. I think they were the winners of the Fuji Grand Prix at Japan. I think there was another circuit as well that I've forgotten how to pronounce it. And I hope that kind of alternated with F1 for a couple of years. But yeah, as we head out Spoon Curve with the Mercedes, we're going to cut to the Williams. Let's talk a bit about Williams then. Williams, massive name in F1, obviously originated as a very small team called Frank Williams Racing, which didn't really work out. Obviously Frank Williams wasn't going to give up that easily, so he just took the Frank out, made a new team called Williams, and to this day it's been on the F1 grid as a fixture, winning titles with Nelson Piquet, no, not Nelson Piquet, Nigel Mansell. Nelson Piquet did drive for them, but I don't think he won a title with them. I think he won all the titles with Brabham back in the early 80s. Early 70s maybe. But yeah, the Williams, so they won championships with Nigel Mansell. They had a very strong run in the early 90s. They had a good run in the early 2000s as well with Juan Pablo Montoya. They won championships as well with Damon Hill at this very track. And they won it at Jerez with Jacques Villeneuve as well. After dropping Damon Hill, the year after, Hill clinched the title for them. Meaning that Damon Hill had to go to the Arrows team, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Damon Hill had to go to the Arrows team, and he almost won the Hungarian Grand Prix ahead of his old teammate of Jacques Villeneuve, but obviously he ran out of reliability towards the last lap. He got passed on the exit of turn 3 by Jacques Villeneuve, who had to dip 2 wheels in the grass to get by him. As I think Damon Hill cruised home to get 3rd that day. So, but yeah, the Williams, they've been struggling as of late, although they had a really good run in the mid-2010s with Felipe Massa and Valtteri Bottas in the start of the Turbo Hybrid era, 2014, 2015, very strong for them as well. Obviously winning or getting pole position in Austria with Felipe Massa, Massa's last pole position in F1. And Massa in Japan. Whenever I think of Massa and Japan, I always think of Massa and Kubica at Fuji back in 2008, because that battle is very similar to the one that we just saw this guy and Devons do earlier in the race, but obviously in wet conditions in that case. So Lewis, although he's DNF'd, he's still in the Twitch chat watching the race. Good to see him still tuning in to this 53 lap race of the Suzuka circuit. All drivers separated by over 20 seconds now. Lap 35 of 53 with the Jordan Amati. As we head through first curve. As meanwhile, as we're speaking, the Intercontinental GT Challenge is at Japan for the 1,000 kilometers of Suzuka, and Nissan Nissan with their GTR GT3 have returned to GT racing for the first time since 2019. And the European Le Mans Series returned to Silverstone for the first time since 2019 as well. And it's also the first time that the Michelin Le Mans Cup and the Ligier European Cup race at Le Mans at Silverstone as well. So that'll be interesting. As we have the Williams and the Jordan nearly contact, but just about surviving this round with the Williams. So the next one to lap the Williams would be the Benetton, as he'd have to deal with the traffic. As heading through 130R then, we've seen many things at 130R, haven't we? We've seen Fernando Alonso and Michael Schumacher battling there. There was a huge shunt who had a similar snap to what James had earlier in the race for Lucas Di Grassi, who had a huge shunt warming up for the race back in 2011. And there was also a big shunt for one of the Toyota cars back in 2000 and was it 5? Was it 2004, 2005? Warming up for the race. I think it could have been Jarno Trulli who had an incident there. As the Jordan comes out of anti-bank corner over the Dunlop curve, there's a yellow flag, and it is the Benetton of James who goes off on the exit of the Casio Triangle, and he's backwards. And just as ALB in chat asks for someone to spin out, James follows his orders. Wow, very obedient, but there by James. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but yeah, great stuff there by James, although he's not lost too much time, as the next car behind him is 30 seconds away and has a 13-second penalty. That will probably get taken off, who knows. As oh yeah, Torlin in chat So ALB is Tournament. As wow. Okay, nice one, Tournament. Anyway, we have. What else do we have to talk about then this weekend? I think we have the V8 Supercar Series as well this weekend. I'm not too sure what track they're at the moment. As out for Tim Enns, who's gone into the wall at the Dunlop curve. If we see from the Williams, we might be able to see him in the background. He's gone off at the Dunlop curve the second time. He's DNF'd at that that corner. Today. He crashed there in qualifying and DNF, and he's crashed there in the race and DNF and caused a safety car. As Fig saying he's gonna cry. That's a shame. I'd cry as well if I was in his situation, but luckily I'm not. I'm just sat here watching him and commenting on it. Anyway, as Fig saying he's not a fan of the Japanese track. Would he rather win at Fuji? Who knows? As Matt looks like he's gonna win, but he has James pitting for fresh tyres. He just went over the curb there. I got confused there. He has James pitting for fresh tyres. He has Phoenix pitting for fresh tyres. He has Devons. If Devons catches up to the Jordan, who is over a minute ahead of him at the moment, if Devons can catch up to him though, that will be great for the end of the race, as their battling early stages was absolutely hectic. Absolutely hectic, as I have to be honest, I'd say 53 laps is maybe a bit too long. It may have been better to do maybe about half the race distance, but opinion's an opinion. Into the pits, out the pits for Devons. I guess not, but yeah, no. Well, it's been a chill race so far. It was a hectic start, and then as we've got into the kind of mid-section, people have kind of faded off into their own race until the Mercedes of Tim went off and crashed at the corner that we're looking at now with the Brawn and the Jordan. So that means the Brawn and the Jordan, although the Jordan is ahead by a lap, they are still together on track, and would they still battle like hell? They probably would do. As, oh my god. A bit tired there as something's happened to Devons while I was yawning. I think he might have just spun there. I'm going to check the stream just to confirm, because the stream is a bit delayed compared to what I'm seeing in real life. There's a bit of sportsmanship there between Lewis and Fig. Fig will always be in Tim Enn, if I'm not mistaken. Just gonna have a look at the stream and see what happened to the Brawn. Oh, he just turned onto the grass himself. Strange. It looked like he was letting the Williams go. Interesting. So the Williams now ahead of the Brawn. As yeah, there was chaos at that first corner, wasn't there? It's the Ferrari and the Benetton both spun. James and I think it was James and Phoenix, wasn't it? Both pirouetting at the start in dramatic fashion, and then the other Benetton and Missile fell victim to the first cab and had a huge shunt as well. As I'm gonna just have a wee break a minute. I'll be back in a sec. Safety car in this lap. We have the view of Devons. We have the view of Matty, but now we have the view of James, and we go again. Jordan has a car in between him and James as the traffic gets dealt with, heading down into first curve. Matty leads ahead of James, then comes the Ferrari of Phoenix, then comes the Brawn of Devon. And as I'm commentating in Plymouth, which is in Devon, and there's contact with Devon on the back of the Ferrari, as Matty having a bit of lag issues that could play havoc later on with... Oh, there's contact with James! James and Havoc making contact, and it looks... Yeah, this reliability issue for Matt in terms of his internet is not looking good, and there's more contact with the internet reliability issue of Matt, and there's more. What on earth is happening with Matt? There's huge drama as now James goes behind Devons and Phoenix. Devons is a lap down to these guys, but there's front wing damage now for James due to that. Incredible, as heading through Spoon Curve. Also, where did Keane go? I thought he was meant to be in this race, but we have heading out Spoon Curve the Jordan, the Ferrari, the Brawn, which is a lap down. We have James now with the damaged front wing limping to the pits. And we now have the Williams as well, who's nearly 2 minutes behind. 1, 2, 3, head through 130R. And about half a second separating the top two. About under a second separating the three cars physically on track. But obviously Devons is a lap down according to this, as DRS is re-enabled. As, yeah, I'd have to say, even though there's low attendance, I kind of like the fact that there's low attendance because it makes the league community a bit stronger, to be honest. Makes it more fun to be in. Heading through the S's 1, 2, 3, and then the fourth one being the anti-bank corner, the one with negative camber. Then over the Dunlop curve, which lasts about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 seconds. And then you're plunging into the Degner curve, which is originally one curve, but it's a double apex thing. That's why we call it Degner 1 and Degner 2. As into the hairpin, which is literally just called the hairpin. And, Torlin has done good with this league so far. It's a great idea and it's been produced well. Is now heading into Spoon Curve with the Ferrari, number 12. And that's something that Italians will miss out on seeing for the time being. Kimi Antonelli in a Ferrari, but round the outside of the Brawn. On the Ferrari, side by side, the Brawn unlaps himself on the Ferrari. And unlike Esteban Ocon back in 2018, he does do it without taking out the guy he's unlapping. As heading here with Matt. Do you reckon we give Devon his lap back? I reckon we do. I don't know. Devon's a lap down, but he wasn't able to unlap himself. So do we give him his lap back after the race, or I don't know what the rules are for that. It's weird. I'm having a lot of world endurance thoughts going through my mind, which is odd for an F1 race. But we move on. We have James and the Williams. We also have the Jordan and the Ferrari. The Jordan's still lagging. If his lag issues were an engine failure, he would have completely smoke bombed the entire grid. And that teleporting from 2 laps ago. Look, there we go again. Another teleport. That's more reliability issues in terms of his internet. Cut away from looking at a wall. That's also when you know it's back as well as the camera work thinks he's in a different place to where he actually is. It's kind of being extra cautious to make sure he's actually catching the car. But the Ferraris dropped back a bit behind the Jordan and the Brawn, and although the Brawn's a lap down, if he disconnects, it would be drama. As it looks like maybe Devon would be able to get his lap back then. As heading through turn 1 then, are they going to battle like animals? Let's have a look-see. Through turn 1, through the fourth curve, and there's more lag issues for Matty. This is getting increasingly worse. With under 10 laps to go now, lap 44. If this was the Belgian Grand Prix, this race will be over by now, but this being the Japanese Grand Prix, Keane is the Williams. Oh, Keane is the Williams. Oh no, he's really off the pace, isn't he? I thought Keane's TTV races. So I don't think Keane is the Williams. I think he was meant to be the Williams, but I don't think he is. Because Keane's gamer tag is TTV races and he's on Xbox, so not too sure. Whoever the Williams is though, he's caused mad drama. Absolutely, I love his presence in races. If we could have him on World Endurance Championship or something like that, please, yes. Because he would make the, what's the next race? The 6 Hours of Fuji. He would make that a spectacle. Oh, he's letting his AI drive. Was AI is causing madness. Maybe autonomous racing league got it on. got it wrong, should I say? They should have an AI as like traffic instead of an actual car for racing. But around the outside and ahead for Devon, who is soldiering on, looking to get his lap back. Yeah, maybe autonomous racing league got it wrong. Maybe they need to make like really slow cars that can be good for traffic, because traffic in racing just causes chaos today. Heading out of Deg now. These two are actually kind of helping each other. This is the calmest I've seen these two be on the track. As a mere 30 laps ago, they were literally ripping 7 bells of Suzuka out of each other. It was carnage, but it was beautiful. As KY is the Williams, and Mental is the Williams as well. But heading into 130R, blue flags for the Brawn Obviously he's unlapped himself, so he probably doesn't want to follow them. Wants to kind of pull away, but I think he's probably thinking of the blue flag as the multi-class definition of there's a faster car behind you, take care. As was it Missile pulling some 2021 Lewis Hamilton stuff from Brazil, and he's not far from the truth on that one, although it kind of ended like, well, no other way to put it, it ended like Derek Warwick back in Monza in 1991. Well, okay, maybe not that bad, but yeah, meanwhile the Jordan and the Braun, it looks like they're still battling. Devins gets a 10-second penalty for ignoring blue flags, so that's probably going to get taken off. Well, obviously he's trying to get his lap back, the poor guy, so unless the Jordan literally has to stop on track and let the Braun get out of the blue flag window. But obviously you probably wouldn't want to do that, because look who's in the background. It's Phoenix, the 549 Ferrari, or number 12 Ferrari should I say. I say the numbers that I see in the gamer tag and I think it's on the car. Yeah, the Jordan from Matty heading up to 130R for the 46th time. There's yeah, one thing to note as well, in terms of track limits. You know, obviously track limits at track limits in Japan very hard to breach, aren't they? Because if you go off track limits, yeah, it's going to be a dirty experience. You're going to be bumping, bouncing, having an absolute rocky time. You're going to feel like you're in a Red Bull soapbox race rather than an F1 car, if you go out there. So, you know, well, it is very nice to have natural deterrence around the outside. No lag. Oh, there's contact between the Braun and the Jordan as they head over the hill. And the camera didn't even cut away from the car there. It was lagging that much, and that is a very scary thing to watch as a commentator, let alone as a driver. We're gonna shield your eyes from that excrement, and we're gonna have a look at the Ferrari here. Ferrari, obviously the team that have been in F1 since the start, winning early doors with Alberto Ascari and Nino Farina, one man with Fangio, to name a few. Sterling Moss, I think, as well. Did he race for Ferrari? No, I think he raced for no, it was Mike Hawthorne. That's who I'm thinking of. Mike Hawthorne, who raced in Ferrari as a Brit. Sterling Moss, I'm pretty sure he raced a Mercedes. I don't think he raced in Ferrari. He might have raced in Alfa Romeo though. I'm not too sure. But yeah. The Williams has got disqualified and has received 8 penalty points on his license and a 10-place grid penalty for the next race in Bahrain, if I'm not mistaken. So that Williams, after the chaos he's caused, has been slapped harshly with a pen. Meanwhile, there's traffic with the Williams and the Braun, who have more contact with the Braun and the Williams, and the Braun's been taken off by the Williams has been taken off by the Braun. And I can't say the Williams and the Braun have any love lost. And oh, he's lagging as well. The Williams and the Braun, those two are gonna have a rivalry like I've never seen before. So I reckon that will be 10 penalty points and a 12-place grid penalty for the next race then. That is a huge disruption to the Braun's race. Massive disruption. That's not even as bad as LMGT3 traffic. That's like huge issues. Get into F3 now, get into F1 Academy. That's where Lance Stroll should be. Anyway. We enter 130R with the Ferrari. Speaking of F1 Academy, we have a very dominant performance being done by the Ferrari driver of Meyer Werg, who's making a name for herself alongside Marta Garcia and Abby Pullen, who are also champions of that series as well. And Jamie Chadwick, who is the champion of the kind of not F1 Academy series, but kind of is F1 Academy series, W series. But Matty, 7 seconds ahead of the penalty-stricken Phoenix, but it does have lag issues. James round again at the Casio Triangle. I don't know what he's doing there, but it looks like he found dancing on ice there. And I'm just getting word that Craig, oh no, that's Strictly. Hang on, let me rephrase that. It looks like he's found Strictly Come Dancing on the outside of that corner, and I'm getting word that Craig Gravelhall has given him a 7, and he'll be very proud of that. Although he's mid-race in F1, so yeah, we head over the Dunlop corner and into the Degner corners. Oh, as we see, that's a great shot. We see Matty going over into 130 out at the same time. We see James go underneath the same part of track that Matty's on, coming out of Degner corner. Yeah, Matty is lagging very badly though. That's the only thing I'd say. If Matty has anything to worry about, it's the bars on his Wi-Fi, because he's keeping the strong gap, but he's also got a bit of a gap from the connection of his satellite signal and his internet port. I don't know anything else about internet stuff, but he's got 3 laps left to do. But look at how much he's teleporting. That is a big worry. Very tense stuff in the Jordan garage, as again James doing more Strictly Come Dancing out of the Casio Triangle, as Craig Gravelhall gives that a 5 out of 10, and I think Susie Bell has given that a 3. That's a bit of a harsh one, but we head through turn 1, or otherwise known as first curve here at Suzuka, with James. Meanwhile, Devons has that penalty, but he's actually catching up to James. He's about 19 seconds away from the Benetton, so the Brawn could catch up to the Benetton, who's struggling for traction in these last few laps. Also 7 seconds separating the battle for the lead, and not just 7 seconds, a 3-second penalty, and not just those two things, but the tense vibe going on in the garage of Jordan, as reliability issues relating to the internet connection of that car in this race server, fears are growing, and the more teleporting you see, the more you get tense and start to worry, because we don't want to see this beautiful performance. We don't want to wait any longer to see a Jordan win a race, as it's been 27 years since Jordan last won a race in F1. They won in the Belgian Grand Prix in 1998 with Damon Hill, and they have a chance to do it again here with Matty. Oh, I've just remembered something. I'm completely wrong. They did win a race between that. It's 2003 Brazil. They won with Giancarlo Fisichella. So actually, it's not 27 years. It's 22 years since they've won a race. Either way, it's a long time. We don't want to see Jordan lose. We don't want to see Jordan lose the victory here. Can I screenshot the results? Yes, I can. I can also just stay on them on stream for a while if needed. So, but yeah, the lag is getting increasingly worrying, and although we're getting nearer to the end, we're also getting more signs of teleporting and darting and things that an F1 car normally doesn't do. If this was an engine failure, we'd need a gas mask, because the amount of smoke around this place would make you think you're in Poppy Playtime Chapter 3. And if you know about that game, that's all about having red smoke and being suffocated by it. If this was a fire at the back of the car... Oh my lord. It's very tense to watch. We'll cut back to that later on. Meanwhile, we have the Ferrari Fenix. Here we have the battle between James and... No, we don't. That gap's wrong. Oh, no, it is right now. I thought it said 49 and 52. No, I thought it was... Yeah, okay. Figured out the gaps now. The stream is 2 seconds slower, yeah. It is a bit slower. It's almost as slow as Matty's internet connection, I must say. That's oh god. Ah no, I hit the wrong thing on my laptop. Ow! I've just hit my elbow on the pole, and I've got front wing damage. Oh no, I've got elbow damage. Yellow front elbow damage on the left side. Ow. Anyway, meanwhile, there's drama in the commentary box, but there's also drama with Matty. Can his internet make it for another minute for him to take this win? He heads through the Degner curve in the Jordan, a team that hasn't won in Formula 1 in any format since 2003, 22 years ago, in the Brazilian Grand Prix, and he didn't even get his trophy that day. He was on the podium. No, it was Kimi Raikkonen who was on the podium. So Giancarlo didn't even get to step on the top step of the podium. It was Kimi Raikkonen who did that. They only confirmed that Giancarlo Fisichella was the winner a week later. But here we go then. The last 4 corners of this race. One of them's completed now by Matty. It's been a dominant performance. He struggled in qualifying, started 3rd. He had a great start, and he's executed the race to perfection. Matty wins the Japanese Grand Prix here in Retro Racing, and Jordan take a return to the podium as the Ferrari behind takes 2nd place. That's Fenix in 2nd. Devons a lap down, gets into P4, and the Benetton of James is the next one to cross the line in his green coloured clothing company sponsored Benetton. What a race by Matty, although it could have gone the way of anyone. I reckon all the people in the top 4 could have won this race, but coulda, woulda, shoulda. That is racing. Sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. James out of the final corner takes Benetton's first podium since 1995, if I'm not mistaken. So a great race for the Benetton. The Ferrari driver of Fenix gets driver of the day. Weirdly enough, his suit looks like the Marussia team suit. Thanks for the nice comments in chat. So nice race. We see the Brazilian, and the Estonian. I think that's the flag of Estonia. I might be wrong. It's the Paul Aaron flag. So that's all I know. Yeah, we see the champagne being sprayed. God, I would love a sip of that. Hopefully Pete joins next time. Who knows? I need to figure out how I can hear him, and I hope he's streaming, because obviously if I'm streaming him, I don't know, I might sort a few things out. But that's the race then, that's the result. I'm going to leave the result there for a minute or two. So 15 seconds separating the 2 leaders of Matty and Fenix. Then comes the Benetton of James. Then comes Devons in the Brawn, who set the fastest lap of the race. He will get an extra point for the fastest lap. in P4. Then in P5 comes the Williams, the drama man, the man who caused all the drama. Then comes Timon in the Mercedes, and then comes the Missile Lewis in P7 out of 7 here in Japan. The inaugural race of the championship here in Retro Racing has been ridiculous, but it has been a joy to watch. I'm gonna wait till 15 seconds left to close the results. There we go. Have a look at race director. But look at incidents, there's been too many. Okay, yeah, doesn't matter. So that's the race then. Missile. He was a missile at some points, but he got absolutely missiled by another car that took his wheel off and sent his wheel to Mars, it looked like. It was a huge jump. Yeah, we see the Ferris wheel spinning in the background. Going round, similar to the cars that were going around this figure of 8 track. Matty teleporting everywhere. The pleasure's mine for commentating on this race, I must say. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Yeah, all good. Thanks very much. Don't know if I'm doing anything now, but probably not. Might edit some videos, but yeah, thank you very much. I'll see you from free next weekend. Yeah, that's all I got for now. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, thanks for all the positive messages, by the way. So really appreciate it. But yeah, my YT, it's Joseph saying I'll get all the videos and the clips. I'll send them into the Discord when I've done them, like I normally do for all the other leagues that I commentate on other days. So yeah, I'm gonna head. Be nice on the stream, and I'll see you all in the next one. Ciao, ciao.